Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are watching us from. It is Vicky Midwood and Jennie Bolt here with your weekly What If. And this week, we've got an amazing topic, I personally think, because it's something that I'm sure you have heard bandied around as a phrase in many areas and seen many times. And perhaps you might have gone, what does that actually mean? So what is today's question, Jennie?
What if it's less or more? What do you understand by that?
Yeah, so less is more. That's kind of a phrase, isn't it? That you might have seen all over the place, and it's kind of like, well, I think I sort of understand it, but I'm not really sure. So let us try and untangle what we mean by less is more. So for you, Jennie, let's start with what you kind of take just from that sentence, less is more.
I think it's something when you're usually on overwhelm, when you're on total overwhelm, and we as people think we have to do it all, particularly as parents.
Yes.
And even in the offices, we have to do it. We have to do this. The boss says this and that and t'other, and we just keep going on doing more and more and more. Because if we don't look at less, for somewhere we buy into the fact that less isn't good enough, we're being slack, we're selfish, we're just being lazy.
Yeah.
It has so many connotations. Instead of actually looking at it and thinking, what if I do slightly less?
Yeah.
How less frazzled would you be? How much more clarity would you get? And how much more would you actually get done? So my question would be, what if less being more, you achieve more?
Absolutely. And I think that for so many people, it seems so contradictory that it's hard to get their heads around. But I think I first heard that phrase in the fashion world. When people were talking about accessories and dressing things up, and I think that's the very first time I came across that phrase of no, less is more. Let the garment speak for itself, instead of plastering on all of this other stuff. And that's kind of how I kind of went, oh yeah, I quite like that. I like the idea that we keep things just simple and we don't have to overdo it. But then what you just said got me thinking about this idea that we've been brought up with, is that more is better. Bigger is better. More is more successful. And it's kind of like bigger, more, bigger, more, bigger, more. And somehow that's what we're supposed to, that was 2 weeks ago, supposed to aspire to doing more, because somehow that makes us a better person. And that's kind of where we get really stuck and overwhelmed, isn't it?
I think that also brings in the word success, whatever success means, because people think if you've got more, particularly things, you're looking more, you're being over the top, if you like, or whatever that means as well. But I was thinking less is more for me came in with makeup.
Right. So similar.
And I am one. I use makeup. Makeup for me is like getting dressed in the morning, and I have no problem with that. But there are days when you know the people who put a lot more on and less, that's the way they feel it's needed. And some people would say, oh, less is more on that.
Yeah.
So I did a makeup course years and years ago, and they showed you we were applying a huge amount of makeup, but it was the amount of what we were applying that actually meant it was less is more, and created a far more natural image than if I'd been left to just, oh yeah, better put this on and that on. Well, we must use blush and must do this, must do that, and oh yeah, of course you need this, this, and this.
Right. So, and that's kind of what you talked about, it kind of being strategic and planned, so that we don't have to do more stuff. We need to do less stuff well.
Well, yes, I kind of have to question that in a way, because then we've come to a conclusion and we're wrong if we haven't. So I think we have to be really, we're back to our energy, our lovely energy things we keep bringing up time after time, but it is about that. And a lot of the energy that we have within our bodies as well is our language, the way we project it, the way we use it. That and often again we're full of more language when less is better. So
true.
again, but it creates so much more stuckness, if you like. I use the word stuckness in our bodies as well.
Absolutely.
So even that. So sometimes, and saying less, whereas we're always things. Oh, I'm intellectual. I'll have an opinion on this. Yes, I can tell you this. I'm superior. Blah, 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 blah. Especially as teachers, because you're supposed to know it all. Well, what if you didn't? And I think it's being in that question of, okay, what's required here again?
Right.
What actually is required? Yeah, I've got it. This isn't working. What is it that's going to? What more do I require here? As distinct from I've got to do more and more and more in order to get it right. And you're just picking at straws. If you use a question, you're not going through the straws. You're actually getting some enlightenment in your head. Oh, okay, so what if I just do that? Okay, if that doesn't work in that 10 seconds, choose again. And I think that this choosing again in every 10 seconds works on that respect. Instead of thinking, oh, I've got all this to do.
Yeah, so that overwhelming to-do list, and it is that, Kate, when I see a great big list of things to do, I take great delight in just like crossing off half of it and just looking at the top 3, because if I can do 3 things in a day and get them done and achieve them, then that is going to help me to feel so much lighter and just kind of better about me having had a good day. Whereas if I've got 27 things on my list and I tell myself I'm going to have to do all of those to have a good day and I only do 3, I'm going to feel pretty rubbish. But I think one of the things that popped up as you were talking there made me think that, back in the day when I was teaching exercise classes and personal training a lot more, I mean, I still do that, but I have a lot fewer clients. And one of the things that recently one of my clients really struggled to get her head around is that I needed her to do less exercise to get better results. And that completely screwed with her whole paradigm of what exercise fit should look like. But now she's seeing that it's working. She's like, oh my goodness me. So yeah, less is actually more, because it's what we're doing with that time and with that exercise that's making the difference, not how long we're doing it or how often we're doing it, but actually what we are doing. And that is, for me, really powerful and a really simple way of getting the idea that less is more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the value of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
We're brought up to think if the more we do, the better we'll become.
Yeah.
But how much allowance is that for ourselves? So we're pushing ourselves into situations, as you're saying with your client, doing that, and my clients mentally, but I have to. I'm a mum. I'm a this. I'm a that. Yeah. I'm somebody else. Where are you in that? Always go. Who are you? Where am I? And all this. How kind am I being to me? But we do go into our language to ourselves is often more than's required. So what if we needed less language than more? Because it's so easy. And very often when I have a list as well, I don't always want to start with the top. I'm kind of looking at the bottom first, and I think I'm nearly there. So, but I also go, which feels lighter? So which is for now, which is for later?
I love that. Always.
So I don't have, I'm going to do 10 minutes on this, and then it's taking me longer than that. Oh no, it's taking me, and then I'm judging. So the whole of judgment is more stress, not less stress. So you're into that. What if it takes you as long as it takes you, and you have no barriers on, but you're actually present when you are doing that?
Absolutely. And that, I think, is a really important point, because if we've got this idea that we have to do more to be more, we're actually not fully focusing on who we are being right now and what we are doing right now, because we're going a few steps ahead. Because, I need to do this and then I need to move on to the next thing. So we're never really 100% there, are we? And this is one of the things as well that you brought up there when we're talking about being a parent, especially being a mom. and having to, I speak to a lot of clients with a lot of stress issues, and often it's stress,
Me
as we
too.
know, that can, yeah, and you as well. They can send people to food or to drink to kind of self-soothe and self-medicate. But what they say to me is, you know, like, especially classic example of half term, well, I need to make sure that the kids are not bored and they do this and they do that. It's just like, how about you just back off and just let them do whatever they want to do and not have their day filled with activity? And how about, as a parent, by you backing off, you're giving kids the opportunity to learn and grow for themselves and make their choices? Because if you're always doing stuff for your kids, how are your kids ever going to learn how to do stuff for themselves?
And also, how much of that is bought in from other people? So always go, who does this belong to?
Absolutely.
Because a load of people out there go, oh, what? They're not doing this at the after school? Oh, I'm doing da 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 da. My children, I remember they had a fairly full day. They were fortunate to do quite a lot at the school as well. So when they were doing things outside, actually, they didn't want to. They said, Mum, no. We just want to come home and be at home. And we forget that energy of the home is a natural place to unwind. It's just to allow them to be. They're having a frenetic day with people talking at them all day long, whether it be friends, teachers, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And actually, time out. Well, how often do we do it, especially as parents? You're constantly, oh, I must be doing this. We need to go for a walk now. I need to be taking this. I watch my own children now taking my grandchildren. You know, it's sort of, well, what if they just be, allow them to be?
Yeah. And it seems an alien concept, doesn't it? It's almost like we're doing something
lazy.
Wrong. It's lazy. Yeah. And there's, again, we're back to that judgment. And all of that judgment is coming from this societal idea that we're supposed to do things a certain way, that being a parent is supposed to look a certain way, and your kids are supposed to behave a certain way. And it's all of this. How about we just expand out and just allow ourselves to get curious, to be creative, and to just do, as you said, what feels light.
Yeah. So what if you couldn't do it wrong? What if there's no wrongness in it? This looking after, doing things even with other people, but in your own life, what if you just knew you couldn't do it wrong? It just was what it was. And okay, if it doesn't work, you go, okay, it doesn't work. How much energy do we spend judging ourselves, on beating ourselves up because we haven't been the best at whatever we're doing at that moment in time? How much energy is that? Does that deplete us? That's far more energy to do that than it is to have less.
Absolutely.
But the less is so much lighter. It's easier for our bodies. And it's more expansive, and we get a better perspective on things. We actually are being us. There's that allowance, that being ourselves, allowing ourselves to be ourselves, being kind to ourselves.
Absolutely. And it's something,
you don't wake up with that pressure on you, do you? I must get up, must do that, must do the other.
It's something that I think we need to practice, though, isn't it? Because I think, especially if you are a female who is a mom and you've got kids and a business and a partner, it's really a challenge to be able to step back and allow yourself to feel what less feels like, what doing less feels like, what saying less feels like, what having less thoughts flying around your head that are judging you feels like. And it feels a bit weird, bit awkward, bit uncomfortable. And that's why we scurry back to doing more. So we don't have to necessarily tune into those feelings. And is that what you find with a lot of your clients?
Yes, absolutely. They don't create space for themselves, because you're absolutely right. Space is that uncomfortable. There's that comfortable distance of not having space, which is a bit of an oxymoron in itself. So, well, I should be doing something. Ooh, and how often do we stop and we either fall flat on our faces and just sleep? But that's not living. This world is about thriving, not surviving. And how much with the more, doing so much more, are we actually just doing the survival route and not enjoying the fun? So it would be definitely choosing is it's really simple as what you choose in the morning. It's just a choice. So what can I be and choose today to create more ease and joy in my life right away? Well, I've got to work. I can't be thinking of ease and joy. What if your work was more ease and joy? What if it was created by ease and joy by the very fact that you thought you hadn't got to do more, you actually chose to do less? And what if that led to getting more done?
I love it. I love it. What you just said there, and it pops up into my head, because I know how I like little phrases and little sayings, and I love your rhyming phrase, but I just went, so I've actually written it down, and I'm gonna stick that on my wall with my post-its. I have my wall full of post-it notes. It's gonna be added to my post-it collection. So more is survival, less is living. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's so powerful. I don't want to be in survival mode by doing more. I want to live. So if less equals living, bring it on.
Absolutely. And I think that it is about this energy again. So be aware of what you're creating inside your body, because once that starts to contract, remember we did some exercise some time ago, you can just go barriers down, expand out the size of the room, the house you're in, the town you're in, the world you're in, the universe you're in, and just notice that the energy around you changes at that time. And then go, okay, so what fun can I have with this today? What will it take for it to be that much fun? Brilliant. And you're the same with family. This is about enjoying. We've usually had children because we like the idea of children. The 0.2 one I've yet to work out, the 2.2 child, but still enjoy them. However, how much by doing more do we remove the joy? And what if we had far more ease and joy in the whole of our lives by doing less?
I love that. That is a perfect note, I think, to finish on, because I think people can just take that and just have a little bit of space, do less, and think about it. Jennie, as always, that has been a delight. I absolutely love our conversation.
Me too.
If people would love to get the joy of having a conversation with you, where can they find you?
They can find me jenniebolt.com, and also Facebook and LinkedIn. And I do short breakthrough sessions as well if you're interested, but it is been working more with professional parents looking to assist their children with education. That's not tutoring, it's about the way it's all approached within the family setting.
Fantastic. So, Jennie has got a wealth of wisdom in that area, and I absolutely implore everybody to just have a chat with her. And just if you've got any concerns at all, if you are a parent, then please do take a little bit of time and get to have a conversation with Jennie. She will light up your world. So you can get in touch with me, vickymidwood.com, and you can find me on Facebook and on LinkedIn as Vicky Midwood. I would love to thank you once again for your time, Jennie, and I will look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week for another weekly What If?
Wonderful. Enjoy. How much fun can you have?